Now, let's discuss how capital works. All right, so what we know is that we humans are actually composed of two natures. We are composed of an altruistic nature, and we are composed of a utilitarian nature, okay? Altruistic just means that you care about human relationships. You want to be nice to people because you want to be their friends, they're part of your family, okay? Utilitarian just means that you don't care about others, you just care about the goal, the profit, money, power, okay? And we're composed of both sides. So think about when you go to a restaurant, right? If the meal is good, you pay a lot of money for it and you give the waitress a tip. When you go home to dinner and your mother is happy to see you, your mother cooks you a really nice meal and then you say, thank you, right? You don't want to do the opposite, right? Where you go to a restaurant and you're like, thank you, and then you leave. And you don't want to go to your mother's house and like say to your mother, hey, this meal was fantastic. Here's $1,000 for you, okay? It would screw everything up, okay? So we have two different natures and we keep them separate. What capital does, that's very interesting, is that it moves us from the altruistic state into the utilitarian state. And at first, that's good. Why? Because when you're altruistic, you don't really want to do anything, okay? Because you don't want to offend other people. So there are lots of villages in the world, and they're static. Why? Because for them, what matters is not change. What matters is harmony. And these villages, it kind of sucks to be an outsider. It kind of sucks to stand out. In fact, there are some traditions in which if you are outspoken, if you are thoughtful, if you like to explore, if you're curious, they will kill you and make you a sacrifice to the gods because they see you as a threat to their social system. Okay, so an altruistic system, it doesn't like change. So if you don't do anything to it, it just stays the way it is. So when you bring capital, people now are more motivated to work hard. People are more motivated to innovate and to explore. So at first this is good, okay? Now you're expanding the system. And then you reach a point of its maximum growth. But then what happens is the scale tips over, okay? And people become too utilitarian. And when you become too utilitarian, you cheat. You don't care about others. And this causes a lot of problems, okay? You start to exploit other people. And so when you become too utilitarian, the system collapses. Okay? Does that make sense? Capital comes in the system and it makes it grow really fast. Once it hits a certain point, then it has to collapse. Okay? So let's use another example. Let's just say that you are a leader of a group of people, and it could be a village, it could be anywhere, okay? And if there's no money involved, what do you care about? You care about status. You care about your reputation. You care about how other people see and perceive you, right? So you care about the feelings of others. Once capital enters the equation, then the way that the leader sees you is different. The leader sees you as a commodity to be exploited, okay? The leader is now like, how much money can I make money off you? Not only that, but the leader, okay? The leader will do what? The leader will align with other leaders, and they will become a cartel, okay? Or an elite. And they will together exploit people, okay? But not only that, but they will expand and look for new areas to conquer, okay? Because all they care about now is money, how to expand the capital. But once the capital expands too far, then what happens is only a few people have all the capital. And the people down below, they're enslaved, they're exploited, and they want to destroy the system. They become indifferent. If you force them, they will revolt against you. So the system must collapse, okay? So the argument I'm trying to make to you is, this is just the way capital works, and there's nothing you can do about it. Okay, that's why the Bronze Age grew, but that's also why the Bronze Age collapsed. And that's why our world grew, but this is also why our world will collapse as well. Okay? That's the argument I'm making to you today. Any questions before we go to the PPT?